All right, let's go. Tage Thompson got 4 goals in the first period. He had 5 goals, 6 points altogether. I don't understand how Granado didn't play him in the third period. What he played 14 minutes?
Like he the record 7 goals in a game. He had 5, and he played 4 minutes in the third period.
Well, that's not very nice.
I don't know.
Do you think he would get a little mad at that? Saying let's say,
I if I was Tage, I would get mad, and he's got a record that some of the other players said something.
Let's say unfortunately when Daryl Sittler scored all those goals against the Bruins, if Nielsen sat him the third period, he wouldn't have got the 10 points.
I mean, you get 5 goals. You should play him in the third period. I just don't understand it.
So you think that the player has a right to say something to the coach, or another player might
I don't
say...
think he'd say anything on that team. I don't think...
Okay.
Granado would not be a guy I don't think would take that very kindly. He didn't... He did in the old days that he didn't want to embarrass the other team. I don't know.
Yeah. So if a guy like Bobby Schmatz was on that team, would Schmatzy go up and say something to the coach?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember he did say something. Ricky Middleton had a bonus, and I forget how many goals I remember it was in Toronto too. Of all places, Toronto Hockey Night in Canada, and I kept playing him, double shifted him, and Harry was sitting up there, knew what I was doing, and he got it. And they all jumped on the ice, and
so as a coach, you were kind of aware of bonuses and
everything,
and records, and
they knew it too.
Well, I would have to say that if I was a guy on that team, I wouldn't be too happy.
All right, that's enough about him. Guy that I really like is Letang. He had a stroke, and he was back in 12 days.
Yeah,
12 days after a stroke, and back playing again. Not too many guys. He could have taken it easy for the rest of the year.
Yeah, take a month off and then come back. But the doctor said he could play. So
he's back playing. I think he did that once before.
Well, he had the stroke once before.
See, now I would think that doctor's taking an awful chance that would want to cover his butt and say, no, you can't play, just because if anything ever happens to him, they're going to look at the doctor, wouldn't they, saying, hey, you came back too soon?
I don't know. I'd always liked Letang. He wore... he had a suit on in the finals. He wasn't playing in the finals. He was really hurt. And he had a check jacket on like I had on. So I liked it. In fact, I still have that jacket. I didn't give it to you, Cindy.
You didn't? How did I miss that one?
I missed. How did you miss that one? I had to put it away.
Well, what we're talking about, folks, is I wiped out Dad's closets, and someday we're going to put them up for auction at a coach's closet, and so I took them all out of your place to give you to ease up.
How many did you take that day?
I think I took it. Well, we took about 80 or so.
80.
Wait, is that? I thought there'd be more. We should post the pictures of having them all up.
Where'd you put 80 jackets?
Oh, you can't believe. I hadn't been in Dad's house for a while.
And it looks empty now.
The closets were filled to the brim. Then you had your cedar closet, and then there was another room in the basement.
I had it downstairs. I had a whole. That's where I had most of them.
That's where you had most of them.
Yeah.
Was
so out of those 80 jackets, how many of them would you have worn?
I pay.
All of them.
I wore all of them.
Really?
There was about 2 I didn't wear.
Well, there was the old timer ones that were like the brown ones.
Yeah,
that,
you didn't
toward
take
the
those.
End. But you know what? The ones that were understated were suits. You had the pants
suits.
And the jacket to match, like the brown one and the pinstripe. You had the pants to match. But the wild jackets,
they were great.
We should post a picture of them. It would be really.
You should.
Yeah.
I'll forward you one, Tim. You get a kick out of seeing them.
Where did you see? Where
John, you're Taylor. John at the Coop.
Down at the Coop,
down
yeah.
in Toronto, the Coop. He has them all, and we're going to put them up for auction soon. But he knows.
Famous fleeting, Cindy.
You know what? We just sold one to one of his clients. They saw them, and I got $2,500 for one. And
Well, would they all go to your...
absolutely, all the money goes to Don Cherry's Pet Rescue Foundation.
Every ounce.
And boy, we're
nickel.
giving away a lot of money these days. I'll tell you, Dad, the rescues are having a hard time after COVID.
Well, the
Don't get-
people got a pup because they had nothing else to do, I guess.
Yes, and then when they went back to work, and the dog's becoming high maintenance because he's used to having people around, and they dumped them in rescue.
I don't know what to say. Any but people do that. Anyhow, the Bruins goalie Linus Ullman is 15-1. 15-1, and he has a 1.32 average, I think, and that's his average. And then he has 937. They're going to have to get something to beat that guy.
Yeah. So, the Bruins, I think they're 14-0-1 at home still. So, okay, Dad, I got to ask you a question about the Bruins. Zdeno Chara went on a show, and he said that when the Bruins were playing Vancouver in the finals, how many years ago?
Yeah.
And if you remember, Vancouver won the first two games.
Yeah,
right?
I remember that.
Right? And Chara said that the Bruins heard that during the practice in Boston, a morning skate, that the Canucks were practicing lifting the cup, like going over, okay, who's getting it first, and then who's going to get it second, and that somebody in the organization contacted the NHL and asked how many friends and family can they bring on the ice when they win the cup. And Chara said the Bruins went a little bonkers, and if you remember, they beat them like 8-0 the next game and stuff. Now, do you believe that?
You know, Tim, it's not what true. It's what the team believes. That's the key. Like when I had it, we were against the world, and we were against the world.
Yeah, so you did have an us against the world mentality.
You took
right?
it one step further.
Well, and it was true. We were the outcasts of the rest of the league. They did not like us because we had so many fights and stuff like that.
Well, you went like you said that it was Harry was against us, and that the owner was against you, and that you never said the Boston media. The Boston media was always good to you.
No, they were always good to us.
But the league was against the Bruins.
The refs,
the
for
refs
sure.
were against the Bruins.
And we used to get more penalties than anybody, but that's how we got to kill them off so good.
I think that was your biggest stats, was about the penalties against you guys.
I remember the one time you were in Chicago, and you were really mad at Goal Magazine.
Goal Magazine, we had won like 18 straight or something like that, or we hadn't lost in 18. And they had a picture of, who was it? I forget.
California Golden Seals or something
Something
that.
like they had a picture of them and not us on the cover.
Oh.
I got it. And I used to make hay with that. That's enough about the Bruins.
Bieska went on last night because he was on, and he vehemently denied it. But I looked when I was watching him. I kind of said they'll protest too much a little bit there. And that Jennifer Bottle was on, and she was on the women's Olympic team when they thought that the Americans were walking on their flag.
It doesn't matter, Tim, as long as the team believes that. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not.
That's right.
Probably both of them were wrong, but the teams believed in it.
Perception is reality. That's what somebody said.
What is it?
Perception is reality. If you perceive something, then it's real.
That's right.
All right. That's enough for them. Ovechkin got 2 empty net goals, and somebody said something to him after the game. I watched that after he got it, and he said, I wonder what he said. That's how you got most of your goals, or something like that.
But another player said something?
Another player on the other team.
Oh, yeah.
He was cherry picking for the second open net.
Yeah. So anyhow, and the guy said, and he kind of took his time. And
so do you think he's going to break Gretzky's record? Goals?
No, he keeps playing the way he's playing. He's never hurt.
That's the thing. He's never hurt.
Never hurt, and he runs guys to pretty good too. He does a pretty good number.
He's the one guy that every time I watch him shoot the puck, I think of Phil Esposito, because Phil said it's not how hard or how accurate your shot is; it's how quick you get it off. And
Well,
boy,
he shoots out farther than Phil, though.
yeah,
Phil,
but he's like, but he's got Phil's thing. He does, that puck's not on his stick a second. He just one times it.
Yeah, but Phil used to do the same thing too. Anything, ping, 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 ping. Washington. Cindy, this is hard to believe. They have 8 guys out. 8.
With all the training they do and weights and all the physiotherapy, how can these players get hurt so much?
I don't know how they do it, but they do it. And 8 guys out. They must pull muscles or something.
Can you remember? Imagine you on the Rochester Americans. And there
We
was
never had any injury.
I know.
Well, we had
Did you
Park.
play hurt? Did you play hurt or what? Like what?
They played hurt.
Oh, well, there you go.
They
Because you know why? Because you'll be replaced pretty fast.
no.
Well, I don't even remember when coach of the Bruins. I don't really remember 8 guys out.
I don't remember 8 guys out. They had 8 guys out. 8. That's hard to believe. 8 guys out. All right.
Okay, Jack Hughes set a record against the Islanders. He was on the ice for, get this, Sydney, 1 shift, 6 minutes and 2 seconds.
That's longer than Phil.
So that's my question. You coach Phil, who was the ultimate long shift guy. Yeah. Did he ever go on for 6 minutes?
I don't think he ever went 6 minutes. Actually, the coach left him on there for 6 minutes.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't like the coach was yelling him to get off. He wouldn't get off.
Because he was a big goal scorer.
They were
but
losing.
6 minutes.
Wow. I remember, boy, when Phil used to go on and he'd be lining up for a face-off and he'd be adjusting his elbow pads and then you'd call him off. Remember how he used to, and then he'd look up at the clock and then he'd saunter off to the bench. Oh, boy.
He used to say, can you imagine him taking me off, Phil Esposito?
Mom and I would
76 goals and 69 goals and putting this dummy on it.
I know you would be pretty upset with that.
Well, that was my first year. I was making most of it.
Well, the other guy, too, that used to do that was Kenny Hodge.
Oh, Kenny Hodge used to, when he didn't play much, he used to flex his legs all the time.
Yeah, but he came out, he started stretching as if to
like,
say, well, I'll do my best. Dummy put me out here now.
But both you got
Funny how
gone,
we got rid of those guys and we were first place.
That's the one thing. I know you and Harry went to war, and we've talked about this before, but the guys you didn't like, Harry got rid of.
No, there has to be some of them going up the and they said
They has to go.
they has to go. I could be a bad guy. Anyhow, what else? Question.
So Cindy brought up a good. We were talking before the podcast. It's Sunday morning, or before the game. What was your Did you go in the dressing room and have a big talk, and then after the game, did you go in and?
No, I used to do it before. What's the sense of going in before, early? And I used to talk to him. I talked to Middleton about covering the points, and
let me see. I would think you'd say, okay, get it out of our end fast off the boards. Keep your shot low and watch the points. I could almost tell what.
Yeah, that's about it.
That would be the speech.
Marner, let's talk about Marner. Marner's doing pretty good with the Leafs, boy.
Yep, 22 points in a row.
Yeah, 22 points. That's pretty good.
But you were saying you had the Leafs figured out how they're going to play.
Keeps doing a pretty good job. Keep it close for 2 periods, and then you're going to get a power play in the 3rd period and then pour it on then. And boy, if you go over their record, they do that pretty good. They'll fool around for the first and they try. I'm not saying they don't try.
So are you saying that the refs are a little bit leaner?
Well, what were the penalties?
So this is Sunday morning. So last night's Calgary game, the penalties were 5-2 for the Leafs and 1 in overtime. And I still don't believe that was a high stick or anything like that. I thought both teams have been satisfied with a 2-2, but then to give them a power play, the game was over. Yeah, if the referees keep doing that and you give the Leafs 5 power plays, you're not. I don't care who you are. You're not going to beat the Leafs if you give them 5 power plays.
Murray wasn't that good last night. But he's a better goaltender than that. They were.
Yeah, well, he kept him in there the thing, yeah. But and Sutter kind of said that. Sutter last night after the game, he says, it's Toronto Maple Leafs and Hockey Night in Canada, and it's Saturday night, and he kind of inferred that the referees kind of favor the Leafs. And I look at some of the penalty the Leafs got, and I go, or the Calgary got, and you look and you go, well, the Leafs just did that 2 shifts ago. So I don't know, but
Anyhow, and Alex Ovechkin, like I said earlier, had 2 empty net goals. Gretzky had 895 goals. I mean, you're going to have something to beat Gretzky, I'll tell you that. I know Lloyd never gets hurt, like we were saying.
Are there some players that in the past that you know that don't get goals, open net goals, that just say, you know, what's beneath me?
The only one I know of is Brent Hall. He would not score an empty net.
It was beneath him.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And when he got all those goals, 70 goals, he would not. I mean, he probably could have had about 3 or 4 anyhow, but he wouldn't score an empty net.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's almost like, well, we talk about Marner. I mean, he had that puck and he was for a streak and he was looking to pass, right? Like, there's a lot of guys don't like scoring an empty net.
Well, a lot of guys do. I think I got to admit that Ovechkin kind of laid it on a little, fooling around a little.
That second goal, he was cherry picking. He was hanging outside the blue line waiting for the puck.
And the guy said something to him. I didn't think somebody would say something to him. Some guy said something to him.
So, Dad and Cindy, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Spreads.ca. They're a Canadian-owned online casino and sportsbook. And if you sign up now and use the promo GRAPES, they'll match your deposit up to $500. You get 10 spins on the big wheel for some big money.
That means a lot, being Canadian, too.
Yeah, there's a lot that sound like they're Canadian, but they're not. They're offshore. These guys are Canadian. And your first sports bet, they'll spot you $25. So I imagine they're pretty busy. You watch the World Cup at all, Dad?
No.
Nope. I didn't think so. It's tough watching the guys roll around after a while.
I saw Tim, the guy miss. How could you miss that net? It is such.
Well, they try to pick
huge.
the corners.
Yeah, Kane for England.
You miss the net.
When I said I am going to watch this game, and I saw the guy fall down and roll around, as if a sniper had hit him. I said, "That's it."
No, I don't.
I can't.
It's painful.
It's tough. So, Dad, we got a couple of questions from Facebook and Twitter. So, the one question they put out says Gretzky had 4 200-point seasons. Will anyone ever get 200 points again?
Nobody will ever get 200 points again. I'll go on record as saying that nobody will ever get 200 points again. Even McDavid.
No, like he's doing well.
Is he something to watch?
So as dominant as he is in the league right now, he's on for, if he keeps up the pace, 150-ish.
I don't care what he's on.
Now, did Gretzky get those points? Obviously talent, but because of the team he was on, more so.
Well, the
or
team
because
he
of
helped. It helped.
Right. But the other thing, too, though, Dad, and I know people don't believe it, but like last night, somebody really cross-checked Matthews and knocked him down. Didn't get a penalty. I thought, man, if they ever did that to Gretzky, that guy'd be an ink spot now. So he did. You have to admit, he did have a lot of room to roam.
He did. He had a lot of guys to protect him. He had Semenko, Dave Semenko, and he had McSorley, Marty, and he had a lot of guys that had come to his rescue. But nobody.
But I don't really. Do you ever really remember guys running him though?
No, I don't. Well, no, I don't. I remember. Well, I don't know if I told the story or not, but Ronnie Delorme, great guy, Ronnie Delorme. I just love that guy. He was looking one way, and Gretzky was looking the other way, and they ran into one another. They were
those accidents.
It was an accident.
They collided.
And they were trying to get in on our bench, trying to get at him. He says, "Grapes, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to hit him." And
not that Ron Delorme was afraid of him.
No, not that he was afraid. He
fought Semenko.
Did he really?
He what?
Oh.
He fought Semenko that in the game. He fought Dave Semenko.
He'd fight anybody. That Ronnie Delorme boy. They're lucky to have him. I think he's.
When he got inducted to the BC Sports Hall of Fame.
Well, he should have.
He thanked you.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. He says,
"You better be careful thanking me."
He says 2 guys that helped him in his career were you and Pat Quinn.
Anyhow, I think a lot of Ronnie Delorme.
Yeah. So you don't think 200's out of reach for anybody?
Nobody's going to get 200 again, and as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. The last question was, Gary Bettman says he can see the league expanding in the future. Do you think there will be a Canadian team, and if so, where?
Well, it's Quebec is playing it pretty smart, and they have a beautiful building. Believe me. What did you say, Tim?
I was watching it, and last week they were talking about possible expansion places, and they said that Quebec's building was built for hockey, and they said the fans are right over the ice, and they said the other expansion team would probably be Houston,
And they're
Texas.
keeping quiet.
And Houston is for where the Rockets play, but they said it's not very good. Won't be good for hockey because it's too.
And don't count out at Hamilton too, because they're doing a lot of renovations.
Yeah,
there.
it's surprising. You go, okay, is it a coincidence that the Bulldogs now, the junior A team, has to find a new place to play? They think they might go to Brantford to play.
Yeah.
And the lacrosse team has to go out because the Cops Coliseum, or whatever it's called now, is spending millions and millions of dollars refurbishing the rink.
So there could be two.
For what?
Yeah, so it's got to. You got.
I say it's Quebec. I say it's Quebec, though. I really do, because they're keeping quiet. They've got this beautiful NHL building, and it is beautiful. And
so, do you think if they expand, they're going to give one team to Canada?
Yeah, they better. I mean, enough's enough.
Yeah, Quebec's been waiting an awful long time.
They've been waiting a long time. They have a beautiful arena, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, and the rivalry between them and
The
Montreal.
big thing there is they say there's not enough money in there, to back them up and everything. There is, believe me.
Yeah. Well, they would say that Quebec Corps, which is a multimedia giant, would be the owners, because they own then they own the building, they own the media, so that's
what a rivalry that is between Montreal and Quebec.
Yeah.
Well, remember the last time they had it?
Yeah.
Broken.
What was it? Good Friday massacre and the St. Valentine's Day massacre they had.
I tell you, they have a rivalry there that they talk about New York and Mets and all that stuff and everything. There's no rivalry in any sport compared to Quebec and Montreal.